Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Fearless Thinking. I'm your host, Michael Devous. In this episode, we are continuing our conversation about AI, building AI proof communities. So, while AI is shaping every single industry out there and every single sector of those industries, from automating processes and scaling businesses like never before, there's one thing AI cannot replace, and that, of course, is human connection. Now, while AI automation, or I should say, while automation itself really is a powerful tool, right? True business longevity, however, does come from community driven growth. That has been one of the things that all businesses strive to find, right? Which is to discover their target audience, to connect with them in a meaningful way, and to share a type of community connection, right? Through their stories, through their needs, their pain points, what have you. And studies show that brands with really strong communities typically see 7 times increase in customer lifetime value. So customer lifetime value is, let's say you earned a customer and you earn their loyalty and you earn their favoritism, and of course, their spending of money. The amount of money that that customer could spend over their lifetime with as a consumer of your products and services is considered their customer lifetime value. So when you think about how many customers you have and their customer lifetime value could be a potential spend that they have with you during the life of during their lives. And to see an increase by sevenfold in that customer lifetime value across all those different sectors because you built a community around it, I think that's pretty powerful data. So how do we begin to build our thriving communities, our AI-proof communities in 2025? One of the suggestions that is I've heard bandied about is this leveraging tribal psychology to build deeper connections. Um, if you could create a sense of tribal, belonging, and that goes, I think, a little deeper than just community, right? It's when you say, "Oh, that's my tribe, those are my people. They understand me." And when they understand me, I wanna connect with them more because I feel like I'm heard, I'm understood, I'm cared for, I'm concerned for, right? That those individuals in that tribe has my not only has my back, but has concern for my well-being because it's also their well-being. So one of the things you want to do, of course, in your messaging and your branding and your connecting with community, and when you're building that community, is to try to leverage that tribal psychology, right? To build deeper connections. Two is to use AI to enhance your opportunities for engagement, right? We're not replacing human interaction. We're not replacing authenticity, but we are finding ways to use AI to enhance our engagement and our engagement opportunities, right? Ways we can discover new touch points or opportunities to connect with those individuals and our consumers, our clients, right? And third is to maintain a community pulse. Um, I like to send out, pulse surveys, polls, where you get a little quick like 3 questions just to get the sort of like, where is everybody? How are we doing? What are we feeling? What are the things that are on our minds the most? And I feel like it's easier for us if we have only 3 to 5 questions and no more, that people will jump in and have a little comment, and then, 3 questions, community pulse, and then a comment, or a comment at the top to engage them, like something sort of not incendiary, but something challenging, something, on the edge. And then the 3 questions. It gets their brains going, it gets them involved, right? This kind of getting a community, maintaining a community pulse, right, is a way to foster belonging and trust among your community members, your followers, your customers, your clients. Gina Bianchini, of course, CEO of Mighty Networks, which is where the Ascent Hub is hosted, says that AI will, of course, never replace communities. It's the human experience that keeps people engaged and not the automation. The automation frees us up to be more engaged. There's a lot of automation and workflows and things that come with running a community that you can get bogged down in the admin side of it. It's freeing you up from those things in order for you to spend more time in and on those chat threads, connecting with individuals because all of the other elements, all the admin, all the onboarding, the badging, the automated announcements and events and things are all being done on the back end for you so that you don't have to worry about that. And now you can concentrate on building that, the tribal psychology, right? So the psychology of AI proof communities. Why do communities matter? Even more so, I would say, in the era of AI. AI powered ads are becoming less effective as consumers crave more authentic connection. And I would actually begin to say it's very similar to back in the day when we watched new films come out with new technology to make it seem the creatures seem more real. Jurassic Park was a prime example of an advancement in this technology from green screen to blue screen, and it made these dinosaurs even more real. And at the time when we saw it on the movie screens, it was incredibly moving and powerful and terrifying. But within less than 2 years, our eyes became adjusted to that technology to the extent by which we now found it fake, or we could see kind of fakeness against the backdrop of something else happening. And I think humans naturally, once a new technology comes on, we adapt, adopt, and bring that on, right? But then we get used to it, and it's no longer as impressive as it was. And as a result, I think those AI powered ads are no longer as effective as they once were with consumers. Partly, yes, because they do crave that authentic connection, but two, I think they're getting savvy. I think their brains are picking up these patterns or beginning to recognize, when something's produced by AI. Two is, social media algorithms. These social media platforms are prioritizing engaged communities over passive audiences. I think we're gonna see I don't know. I think we're in the algorithm playground right now. We've been in the playground. I just think we're in the algorithm battles. People are battling for their right to build their own communities without having to play your game with your algorithms, without having the risk of you taking their communities and their groups and their comments and their followers and all that stuff away from them. And I think we're moving towards more privatized social platforms where we can connect with like-minded and like-valued individuals where there's no algorithm playing with our connections. There's nobody, that's going to take all of that away from us. I think that's crucial and important, right? Three is strong communities are future-proof business against industry changes, right? So a strong community develops a future-proof business against industry changes. So as industries shift and will fluctuate, of course, they're going to change. Having a very strong community could actually proof, like fail proof, success proof, could protect your business from those challenges, right? Could help level that playing field for you so that you're not having the biggest ups and downs that others might have because you have a psychological, tribal, unified consumer base that really believes in your products and your services and what you do. A prime case study about this, by the way, and it's not hard to imagine and hard to believe, Harley Davidson um, built their own community. This started, of course, I want to say the late 80s when they began to move away from the gang-related association or affiliation with their brand and into more of a corporate uh, if you're, doing well and you're successful and you're smart, you also have an edge to you, and then Harley becomes that sort of style, becomes that sort of brand, that motorcycle for you. It's pretty smart. Instead of relying on solely on ads, Harley actually focused on lifestyle-based communities. That was one of the ways they were able to shift and change their branding. AI enhances personalized experiences, but the real power, of course, is in the shared identity of their consumers across all of their brand offerings. And then, of course, the result was supreme brand loyalty, by the way, which skyrocketed even among young writers who began to perceive the brand in a different light. And I mean, their sales shot through the roof, right? So there's a framework for AI proofing your community architecture that you can sort of take these tips and tricks and steps to look at ways that you can do it. One is, of course, the common enemy mindset, a shared challenge or a belief system that unites your members. For an example, like outdated industry practices or failing consumers and customers. So all of us can get behind a shared challenge or a belief. Obviously, when we are united behind an enemy, we come together to defend ourselves. And if you can generate that sense of belonging and shared that we all have a shared belief or a shared challenge behind your product or your services, I think that'll go a long way to building that community architecture that you're looking for. Ceremonies and rituals, we all love our traditions. We love our regular events that create belonging. And those become things we depend on to help us navigate the world and hopefully build more hope and opportunity and excitement around the things we can expect and anticipate in our daily lives. So weekly live Q&A sessions with your community leaders could be one of those ways that you could do it. Um, Contributions and ownership. When members feel encouraged to participate and lead, and not they take a then once they do, they take a kind of ownership of the experience on. Excuse me. For example, member spotlight features where top contributors get recognition. Or instead of just top contributors, which is what the algorithms are doing, maybe it's the most interesting ones. Maybe it's the ones with interesting stories about how they got here, why they use the product they do, how it's changed their life or their experiences, or maybe it's just simply a way to connect with an individual that happens to have a similar experience that we do, right? So if you can get them to participate, engage with one another, and then lead by example, they've bought in, right? So one of your action steps this week could be just identifying your community. What's the common enemy, challenge, belief system that you could then integrate into your messaging to gain that extra benefit? Next is an AI enhanced community engagement, right? So once we've got their attention and now we want to stay involved, stay engaged, how can we strengthen those communities? One is that AI can free up time by automating moderation and content suggestions. Like we were talking earlier, AI is a powerful tool to be able to automate a lot of things and just take some of these things off your plate so that you can concentrate on delivering the quality connections that you want. Two, AI can identify trends in your community conversations for deeper engagement. Now, I know a lot of these platforms, school, higher level, Learn Worlds, Mighty Networks don't have, as far as I know, an integrated AI that you can use. However, what you can do is you can begin to download your chat threads into a CSV, and then you can import that into one of these AIs to have them take a look at trends and conversations within the community to determine what are some of the biggest pain points, what are some of the most common phrases or common complaints or common challenges or issues or common excited moments, common happiness moments, right? Getting those trends helps you stay relevant and, of course, hear the pulse of the community. Then you can tweak your polls and your surveys to talk about those exact topics. Now your community feels like you're really listening to them and you're paying attention because you kind of are. I mean, you're using AI to help you do it, but you are addressing those things, right? Next is AI-powered insights, which help us optimize our events, our content, and our discussions. A case study from Darius Lucas, who does the seven-figure membership model. I've got his books, I've got his webinars and all that stuff. I signed up for his AI things too. He uses AI-generated discussion prompts to keep members engaged. So you could drop an AI discussion prompt into the feed once a week, once every day, and just see if people respond to this comment that's being made, see what people are saying about it. Next is AI. Darius used AI analyzed sentiment trends to create content that members actually want. There's a lot of well, not there are a lot of new AIs out there that can develop sentiment, give you sentiment analysis. Firefly's AI, which is my meetings and note-taking AI, when it attends meetings, it can give me sentiment analysis based on the responses of the individuals during that meeting, whether or not they were irritated, upset, having a good time, not having a good time, not engaged at all. Well, you can upload these transcripts into Fireflies, and then you can get some of that sentiment analysis back, which I think is super helpful. Next is, as a result, Darius, when he used these things, both the AI-generated discussion prompts and the sentiment analysis, he received 2 times higher engagement across his platforms and a 20% increase in retention rates among his communities, and participants. That's something that I think, as a value add, when you realize that that's something you can do for your members, you can say, "Hey, our community experiences this because we do these things. This is a benefit. This is a value add for all of us." So AI enhanced tools, right, for community growth. So we've gone through engagement, we've gone through retention and heightened experience. And now we're looking at growth. How do we get beyond what we currently have and get this to grow a bit more? The common things, of course, that we all can expect: ChatGPT-generated discussion prompts to keep the conversations moving, mid-journey community badges. Well, you don't have to use Midjourney, you can use Canva, you can use a lot of different things. In fact, our platform at Mighty Networks has different badges. You can upload your own badge, and then I like to go with Canva and design it based on my branding, colors, styles, and things like that, so they're consistent. I like to create categories of badges, so that if it's a performance badge, an activity badge, an engagement badge, each one is a certain style of badges, so people know, when they're completing something, they can get those. The AI moderated hot seat suggestions and sessions. If you automate community polls and feedback loops, you can see which members are participating the most, then put those members into the hot seat Q&As so that you can get to know them better, or your member spotlights if you will, which would be kind of cool. So your action step for this particular one is if you could use a ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, Perplexity, Claude, whatever, DeepSeek, to generate 10 custom discussion prompts for your community this week. What would you do? How would you engage with it, and what would you do? Now, if you're like me and you've already got information in your AI, you've you've downloaded, uploaded, copy and pasted so many different things about your community in there. It should know your community framework pretty well and could come up with those. Now, of course, if you want to stay relevant, make sure that you're also uploading some of those chat threads and discussions so that you're staying relevant. And if you don't have enough material for that, you can go out to the net and you can research the top 5 in your target market segmentation. What are they experiencing? What are their pain points? What are they talking about today? And then you can use those to leverage those to create your custom discussion prompts. So next, we're going to talk about fear management. You know me, love fear. Fear is what I do. I make fear your friend through a number of different things, including the Fearless Thinking podcast. Where we talk about these things that can generate anxiety and fear, and AI is certainly one of them. So keeping the humanity, keeping the human in community, right? There's no way to make that rhyme, I suppose. Keeping the humanity in community, community, human. Oh, that's terrible. I apologize. So balancing AI and human connection. AI, of course, can automate a lot of engagement tools and opportunities, but it really cannot replace the human sense of belonging, and fear of AI has drives isolation, right? This is very real. Leaders must reinforce the human bonds within their companies, organizations, and their teams. Those of us who are building communities must try to eliminate as much of the fear and anxiety as possible by creating opportunities where they see us more, our face, our engagement, our opportunities inside and on the platform, right? That's something we wanna make sure that we're creating as leaders of our communities, and I mean, online communities as well. The community pulse that we talked about earlier, the weekly, check-in with our community, it ensures that members actually feel heard and valued, but beyond checking in and them feeling like you're to me, if you want them to ensure that they feel heard and valued, take the information from the pulse check-in, from the poll, from the survey, and do something valuable with that information that then makes them feel heard and valued. That's a step beyond. That's good, right? Industry expert Priya Parker, the author of The Art of Gathering, she wrote, "Great communities aren't just groups of people, they're intentional spaces built for connection and transformation." Yes, I think that's true. That's why I built the Ascend Hub. I built it for a better sense of connection and community around the idea of being an entrepreneur and a solopreneur. What does it look like when we're out here alone and we're isolated, or we isolate ourselves, or we're so busy because we're switching hats so many times? How can we find resources and support to help make this journey a little less stressful and anxious ridden and fear ridden, right? And I think that's the idea behind what I'm doing with the Ascend Hub, also with creating communities for the chambers of commerce. Those are our businesses. Those are our local businesses we want to support and create those connections with, right? So how do you run a community pulse, a weekly check-in, right? Like I said, one, polls. Poll members on their biggest challenges this week. What are they facing in their business model? I think it's important to sort of keep it clear, like you may want to restrict them from talking about life challenges and more like business challenges if that's the framework of your community. Make sure you've framed it up in such a way that it really does apply and is applicable to your community standards and to the things that they're dealing with or that they need inside that community. Two is spotlight members who make a difference. If you see members that are actively engaging on the platform and creating change and opportunity or connecting people with ideas, thoughts, and solutions, make sure you recognize them, and not just with a badge, but you pull them up and you honor them in some way, shape, or form, whether that's interviewing them on camera or getting a testimonial from them, or you providing a testimonial and then putting it out as a video saying, "Hey, we see you." That could go a long way. And then acknowledging, of course, and acting on that community feedback. Like I said before, if you don't act on it, one thing is to acknowledge it, one thing is to do it. And then the second is to acknowledge it. The third is to act on it in a meaningful and valuable way that allows your community to feel like you've listened and they're being cared for and heard, right? So your action step on this part is set up a weekly 5-minute community pulse check-in. Try to use your AI to see if you can develop a well-rounded and meaningful set of polls and discussion points. One, make it relevant to society today and what's going on out in the world. Two, make it relevant to what your offerings and services are. And three, make it relevant to the pain points and issues or challenges that your members are experiencing. And if you can do those three, you'll have a pretty interesting pulse that you can report data that you can use to create better, more engaging opportunities, right, as you move forward. So now AI powered tools such as these, you know, within our communities can help us scale our communities, create better engagement. And at the heart of all of this, though, is people that crave real connection. Your brand isn't just about a product or a service, it's about a shared journey that you're on. It's about your story. It's one of the things I talk about in my coaching and training and workshops, which is how to weave your brand narrative and your authentic journey as a leader, as a founder, as a startup into your messaging for your brand so that it feels connected to the people who want to buy it from you, right? When you do that, you create a much deeper connection and a shared experience that I think is way more valuable than, we just sell widgets. So this week, if you can implement the 3 C community architecture, put that into play to experiment with AI tools within your community, whether you're using ChatGPT to create engagement discussion prompts, or whether you're using AI to develop a poll and a community pulse framework, or whether you're using it to analyze the data coming from chat threads so that you can be there for them when they need you. Third is conduct an AI assisted community sentiment analysis, which is what I was just talking about. Find a way to do that. Find a way to get the sentiment part of it in there. How will you use AI and your AI supported tools to gather that kind of information so that you understand where people are and how they're feeling? And then, of course, I'll leave you with Seth Godin's, who's a marketing expert. His quote this week: "The brands that win in AI are not the ones with the best technology. They will be the ones that create the strongest tribes." Be sure of it. That's how it's gonna roll. All right, next week, we're gonna be talking about AI-powered marketing and personalization and how AI is revolutionizing brand engagement across everything that you touch and you see. Thanks for joining me this week. I really appreciate your time. visiting with me this episode, talking about our communities and AI and how we can create better engagement, future-proof our communities through AI. It's gonna be interesting. Join me next week, and of course, this week have a fantastic time. Do some amazing things. Check out I want to hear from you about your AI experiences. I really do want to know what's going on with you out there. So, all right, share that with me and have a fantastic week. Be good to each other, and I will see you on the other side. Bye.